Sana and Pratik, can you just tell me, is my voice clear now? अब आ रही है मेरी voice? So I'll explain everything again. So we have started our lecture series. So in till yesterday we studied for Old and Middle English. In today's session we are going to study for for the age of Chaucer. Now what is this age of Chaucer? This age is all belong to Geoffrey Chaucer. Now who is Geoffrey Chaucer? He is the father of British or English literature. I know most of the students get confused between between William Shakespeare and Geoffrey Chaucer. Most students think that the father of English literature is is William Shakespeare, but no students, it is Geoffrey Chaucer. Now we are going to study in detail about Geoffrey Chaucer. Don't worry about it, okay? And so before we start with the actual session, here are some of the things that I want to highlight. हमारी बैच स्टार्ट होने वाली है न्यू बैच स्टार्ट होने वाली है फ्रॉम 28 ऑफ मार्च. सो अगर अभी तक आपने एनरोल नहीं किया है, जल्दी से जल्दी कर लीजिए ताकि आपकी प्रिपरेशंस मिस ना हो. बिकॉज इन दी बैच और इन दी कोर्स we are trying to teach each and every topic in detail. okay? आपको हर एक टॉपिक डिटेल में पढ़ाया जाएगा. प्लस आपको बहुत सारे और फीचर्स देखने मिलेंगे हमारे ऐप में. रोज की रोज प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चंस होंगे. जो आपने पढ़ा है उसी के ऊपर आप प्रैक्टिस कर पाओगे, क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर पाओगे. यू विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट हाउ दिस टॉपिक इज रेलिवेंट इन दी और हाउ the questions come from the particular topic in exam. okay? and आपका रिवीजन भी होता रहेगा उससे. प्लस बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि व्हाट टू स्टडी एंड व्हाट टू स्किप. so students end up studying or reading the material which is not even relevant from the exam perspective. okay? so students, you have to understand that, you have to remember that, and then you have to prepare. so in our course we have proper planned lectures जिसमें मैं हर एक टॉपिक को आपको डिटेल में एक्सप्लेन करूंगी. प्लस जो रेलेवेंट है, जो एग्जाम में आपको पूछा जाता है, वही पढ़ाई हम करने वाले हैं. सो जब व्हेन आई वाज प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर माय एग्जाम, आई ऑलमोस्ट bought 20 to 25 books for UGC-NET English, which was, and I read all of them. So now with my experience, now I have shortlisted so much of the material that हर एक बुक में, हर एक बुक का हर एक चैप्टर रेलेवेंट नहीं होता स्टूडेंट्स. तो मैंने ऐसे मेरे नोट्स बनाए हैं, या वॉट एवर आई एम गोइंग टू टीच यू, इट विल बी इन सच अ वे कि आपको जितना ज़रूरी है उतना ही मिलने वाला है. तो आपका बाकी का जो एग्जाम में नहीं जिसके ऊपर पूछा जाता, वो पढ़ने में आपका टाइम वेस्ट बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. एंड यू विल बी एबल टू डेडिकेट योर टाइम विच इज रेलिवेंट, विच इज इम्पॉर्टेंट. ओके? and so please, if you haven't enrolled in in our course, do it right away so that you won't miss your preparations. okay? And again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. If any of your friend is preparing for UGC-NET, do let him also know, so that he or she also won't miss their studies. okay? So here I would like to acknowledge the comments. I hope, Sana, my voice is clear now. Pratik as well. Yes, good afternoon, Shruti. Very good afternoon to you. So yeah, let's continue and begin with the actual topic of today. So today we will be studying for the age of Chaucer. So here you will be able to see that the age of Chaucer was from 13th century to, it was from the 13th century to 14th century AD. okay? Then let's now have an introduction of Chaucerian age. So in Chaucerian age, we will talk about the history, the background, then the theme, and then the style of this age. okay? So basically we will start Just give me a second, students. Okay. So let's continue and let's talk about some of the important topics related to Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay. So the very first thing that you should know about Geoffrey Chaucer is that this age from 13th century to 14th century, this age was divided into three major historical events. So three major historical events happened in this particular age. Okay. So what are these three historical events? So the first one was 100-year war. Now what happened in this 100-year war? So the war continued for whole 100 years. Can you imagine, people are fighting, people are having war for 100 years? Isn't it a very big time, big duration? So actually, and the war that happened was between England and France. Okay. So the war was between England and France. So this is important, and it lasted for 100 years. So it started in 13th century and it lasted till 14th century. Okay. Then the second important historical event is Black Death. Now what is this Black Death? So Black Death actually started in 1347 and it ended in 1351. Okay, it started in 1347 and it ended in 1351. So what was there in this Black Death? So it was plague. So I hope you all know what a plague disease is. It's a disease which is caused by the rats, and due to this disease lots and lots of people died. So that is why it is called as Black Death. Okay, because it was caused by the rats, it is called as Black Death, and lots of people died in it. That is why it is called as Black Death. Okay, and you have to also remember this age. And the third important historical event happened, that's the peasants revolt. So peasants revolt started in, so it basically started in 1381. Okay, so it was started in 1381. What was the aim? So here Wat Taylor and John Bain, these are the key figures of this peasant revolt. So they actually revolted and they captured the Tower of London. Okay, so this is something important you should remember, that they captured this Tower of London. Why they captured this Tower of London? Because they were protesting against their rights. Okay, so they were protesting for their rights, peasants' rights. So they were the peasants and they wanted to they had their some demands, and to fulfill those demands they had this revolt. Okay, which was in 1381, and what they captured was captured. Was captured. Now here another things that you have to remember is, in this 100-year war there were three basic battles that were took place. The first one was the Battle of Crecy, which started in 1346. Then the second battle was the Battle of Poitiers. Okay, and the third battle was between the Agnicourt. Okay, so the name is Agnicourt. Remember this. Okay, so these all the three wars were fought between England and France. Should be clear to you. So it was fought between England and France, which were the three battles. First battle was the Battle of Crecy. Second was the Battle of Poitiers, and the third battle was the Battle of Agny-Court. Okay, Agny-Court. So these were the three battles that majorly you should remember at the time of exam. Now next. Now we will understand the things to remember. So there were few things that happened in this age which you have to remember. Okay. So which are these things? First one was that English became the language of court. English became the language of court. So in court, whatever the legal work was going on, it was happened in English. Okay, so there was this compulsion that everything should be in English. So that was the first thing you have to remember, and it happened in 1362. Okay. Then it was also accepted. It became the language of parliament. It became the language of parliament. And in which year it became? It became the language of parliament in 1363. And it also became language in which school teaching happened. Language in which school teaching happened. Okay, and this started from 1386, sorry. It started in 1386, okay. I'm sorry, please excuse me, students. So these are the three things that you have to remember. What are these three things? First one is English became the language of court. So whatever the legal things happened should be in English. That was the compulsion. Second, language of parliament. So if you will see now, the language of parliament in India is Hindi, right? So whoever the president, whoever the parliament member is, he has to speak in Hindi, because that is the language of parliament now. Similarly, in England, at the age of Chaucer, English was the language of parliament. It started in 1363. And then English was also started in schools. So teachers used to teach the students in English. Now you will say that the country's native language is English. And what is the need to make this into practice? Because if you will see, the age started with the Anglo-Saxons, right? Or Anglo-Normans, which were the people from Germany or maybe from France. So that is why they came to England and they brought their languages with them as well, right? So that is why it became necessary for the people of England to make English into prominence, to make English the language of their into practice. Okay, so that was the need of it. Now let me just acknowledge few of the comments here. Okay, so yes, good afternoon Kumar Joshi. Hello Shubham. Good afternoon Swara. Hello Rashi. Sorry, hello Rakhi. Okay, so here Saurabh is asking, ma'am, app download कैसे करें? Saurabh, thank you so much for asking this question, क्योंकि बहुत और भी students को अगर ये डाउट आ रहा है, अगर वो भी इस प्रॉब्लम फेस कर रहे हैं, सो उन सब के लिए ये क्लियर हो जाएगा. So basically students, what you have to do, you just have to go to प्ले स्टोर से आप बाकी के जहां से आप डाउनलोड करते हैं, सेम वही प्ले स्टोर पे आपको जाना है. वहां पे IFAS बस आपको डालना है, इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर एडवांस स्टडीज. अगर आप IFAS डालते हैं तो आपको हमारे लोगों का ऐप वहां पे ऑटोमेटिकली दिख जाएगा. बस आपको वहां पे रजिस्टर करना है, एंड जो भी हमारे कॉन्टेस्ट आते रहते हैं या जो कुछ भी हम आपके लिए न्यू लेके आते हैं, वो सब कुछ आपको वहां पे मिलेगा. ओके, आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू एवरीवन. यस, हेलो पंकज, वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून टू यू. चलिए, सो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now we will actually talk about Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, who is Geoffrey Chaucer? What was his role? So, Geoffrey Chaucer, first of all, you should know that Geoffrey Chaucer is called as father of English literature. So, that is the basic thing you should know about him. So, he is called as father of English literature. Most of my students make this question wrong. So in exam, the question might be asked to you that who is the father of English literature? And there will be 4 options, in which one option will be Geoffrey Chaucer, one will be maybe Shakespeare. So don't confuse, Shakespeare is the father of drama. He is not considered as the father of English literature. Okay, remember this. चलिए, so he is called as the father of English literature. That is the first thing. And he was the first person to bury in the poet's corner, or to be buried Now, what is this poet's corner? It's a place where lots of famous poets were buried. Okay, so first one was Geoffrey Chaucer, who was buried in Poets Corner. Now the place has got very historical importance because of all these people. So that is a proper graveyard kind of a thing. Earlier it was a graveyard kind of a thing. Now it has got a very historical what you can call it, importance. Okay, so he was the first to be buried in Poets Corner. Now Geoffrey's was aided, so Chaucer's were aided. Chaucer's was aided by 3 successful British kings. Means he worked basically with, or when these 3 kings were there, he was also with them. Okay. Who are these 3? First one is Edward III. Second is Richard the Fifth. I actually don't remember whether it was Richard the Second or Richard the Fifth. If you know it, please just clear this doubt of the students. And the third one, so it might be 5th or it might be 2nd. Okay, you find it out on your own, and or I will tell you in tomorrow's session. And Henry the Fourth. So these were the 3 successful kings who aided Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, so they actually helped Geoffrey Chaucer, or or what you can call it. So Chaucer's aided by. So these three kings actually aided Geoffrey Chaucer is what this. Okay. Now we will talk about the life of Chaucer. Okay, so what was his life all about? So if we talk about, so his life was divided into three different periods. What were the three different periods? First one was period 1. What he did in his period 1? So French influence. He was under French influence. Okay, and from the age 1343 to 1370. Okay, this was the age. That was the first period. Okay, and in this age worked as public servant. So he was working as public servant. This is very important. So in the first period he worked as a public servant. So because there was very much influence of French people at that time. Second is second period, period 2. So in period 2, it was the Italian period. Okay, and the age was from 1370 to 1385. Okay, so this was this second period. So in this period, he served as controller of customs. It was a position at that time. Okay. Then also married to Philippa Roche. So this was the age when he got married to Philippa Roche. And then the third age was the English period. Was the English period. So the age was from 1385 to 1400. Okay, so you can imagine what was his lifespan, right? So at this time he served as justice of poet and a member of parliament. And he was also a member of parliament. Okay, so here you can see that how his age was divided. Okay, so it was the first age. In the first period, it was French influence, where he served as a public servant. The second period was Italian period. That is why he served as a controller of customs. In the third period, that time he gave the justice to the poets, means he gave the recognition to all the English poets, and he also became the member of parliament. Okay, so this is again very important. You should know about Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, so यहाँ पे okay, yes, good afternoon Puneet, good afternoon Shubham. हाँ, मुझे टेलीग्राम चैनल ज्वाइन करना है. So Disha is asking Telegram channel join करना है. So Disha, the link is provided in the description box. You can just click on that link and you will be directed to our Telegram channel. Okay. So if you haven't joined our Telegram channel, do it right away. The link is already given in the description box. Okay, you can click on that link. So if you are watching this lecture from the mobile, it is easier for you. If not, then just copy that link and then open it in your mobile phones only, okay? Or you have to download the Telegram app in your laptop. So whichever is feasible for you, you can go for it. Is it clear to everyone? So now, are you all clear with the age of Chaucer, that how his age or how his life was divided into 3 ages or 3 periods? Is there any doubt, any confusion between this? So now here again I would like to add one more thing, that Chaucer made London English. Okay, so this is a London English dialect which we already spoke about. We talked about this age, London English dialect, right? So it was the Chaucer who made it into practice. Okay, so that is another important thing about Chaucer. And Midland dialect, modern English is influenced with Midland dialect. So modern English is again influenced with the Midland dialect. So earlier you will find the Old English which is not relevant nowadays, but from the age of Chaucer he made this London dialect. Okay, so which was again famous. It was famous by Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, so remember that. Now we are going to talk about the important works of Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, prominent works of Geoffrey Chaucer. So before we actually talk about the prominent works of Geoffrey Chaucer, again here I want to add a few more things to it. First we will talk about the critics said about Chaucer. Now this is also very important. You should know about the Geoffrey Chaucer. So when you will study these, you also have to know that Thomas Hoccleve said Chaucer was first poet or founder of fair English. Okay, so it was Thomas Hoccleve who said Hoccleve, that he said that Geoffrey Chaucer was the first person, he was the first man who actually, or he was the founder of fair English. Now what is the meaning of fair English? So basically, as you all know, the complexion of the English people is fair. The people who live in England is fair, right? So he wanted to give the recognition. So Geoffrey Chaucer gave the recognition of this of the English people in his works. Okay, and because of him, English people also started writing literature. Earlier, you might have seen that the Germans and the French were more into influence. They or Italians, they started writing about the English literature. And that time English people were not very much writing about it because they did not get that importance, okay, or they did not get that opportunity. So Geoffrey Chaucer gave them that opportunity, and that is why Thomas Hoccleve says that he is the first poet or founder of fair English language. Okay, then again John Lydgate said that fall of princes as the Lord. Then again Sir Philip Sidney also talked about I'm sorry, Chaucer. And John Dryden said that Chaucer is like a rough diamond who needs to be polished in order to shine. So what is said by John Dryden? He says that Geoffrey Chaucer is like a rough diamond. So he says that Geoffrey Chaucer is a diamond, but he needs to be polished. Means he needs to know few of the things about literature, and if he knows about them, then he will shine bright. Okay, that was said by John Dryden. So these are the famous critics who talked about Geoffrey Chaucer. So which is very important. You should know about Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, so what critics said about Geoffrey Chaucer? Okay, so here Abhishek is asking, मैम रजिस्टर करना हो तो लिंक कहाँ पर मिलेगी? आपको लिंक कहाँ रजिस्टर करना है अभिषेक? If you want to register on our app, you don't need any link. यू कैन डायरेक्टली डाउनलोड द ऐप. पहले आपको डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा ऐप को. ऐप अगर डाउनलोड करने की लिंक चाहिए, इट इज देयर इन आवर डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स. आप डायरेक्टली डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में जाके उस लिंक पे अगर प्रेस करोगे तो इट विल बी डायरेक्टली डायरेक्टेड टू आवर ऐप. ओके, और आप जब डाउनलोड कर लोगे तो आप डायरेक्ट रजिस्ट्रेशन कर सकते हो. उसके लिए अलग किसी लिंक की आपको जरूरत नहीं है. ओके, so yes, this was it. Now let's move ahead and look for the important works of Geoffrey Chaucer. Now the very first important work that we are going to talk right now is the first work is Romance of the Rose. Okay, so what is this? It's basically a French allegory. It is a French allegory. Okay, and it translation was written by Chaucer. Okay, so actually this the Romance of the Rose is not the work written by Chaucer, but basically it is a French allegory and its translation into English is done by Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, remember this. Allegorical dream. So its translation was written by Chaucer. Okay. Now the second important work written by Chaucer is Book of Duchess. Has anybody read this Book of Duchess? What does this Book of Duchess talks about? So it's it's actually a death of Blanche. Blanche. Somebody says it as Blanche. Okay, so it's the death of Blanche of Manchester. So this whole death of Blanche of Manchester is talked about in this work, the Book of Duchess. Third important work written by Geoffrey Chaucer is House of Fame. What is this House of Fame? It basically this House of Fame is unfinished poem. So Geoffrey Chaucer cannot finish this poem because he died before finishing it. Okay, this is so the important thing you have to remember about this poem is it is unfinished poem. But can you imagine the work of them? It was so famous that even it was unfinished, people liked it. And what was there in this? So in the poem, poet falls asleep and finds himself in glass temple in this dream. Okay, so it's basically a parody. What a parody is? So it's basically something comedy happens that and in sleep he now what the writer is writing that he is asleep and then again he dreams and in that dream he is in the glass palace. Okay, in the glass temple, not palace but the temple. So that is the whole dream about. So it is called as the parody. Okay. Then the fourth famous work written by Geoffrey Chaucer is Analecta and Archive. So what is this? It's Queen of Armenia. Okay, so this is influence of Italian literature. So you will find influence of Italian literature in this Annaletta and Archive. Okay, and this poem talks about the lover's complaint motive in this poem. Okay, so what is its lover's complaint? Okay, the next a famous work written by Geoffrey Chaucer is the Parliament of Fowls. Parliament of Fowls, fowls you might already know, birds. It's the Parliament of Birds that he is talking about, but the name of the work is Parliament of Fowls. Okay, or the birds. So here birds are talking to each other. So in this, it's basically a dream vision. Okay, so where birds are talking to each other. Now, can it happen in the real life? No, right? Because it is written by Geoffrey Chaucer, and it is a vision that he is trying to display. It is imaginary. Okay, so it's a dream vision. So the whole poem talks about the dream vision, that what actually birds parliament will look like, and how what discussions they will have in it, and everything is talked in this. Okay, so here Niharika is asking, मैम प्रैक्टिस के लिए फ्री टेस्ट सीरीज भी है क्या? So Niharika, if you know, so जो स्टूडेंट्स को नहीं पता है, let me tell you that students, we have practice questions every day. I am putting 5 contest questions जिनको आप हमारे ऐप में जाके सॉल्व कर सकते हो. आपको बस हमारे ऐप में जाके रजिस्टर करना है एंड फ्री में प्रैक्टिस करने हैं क्वेश्चंस को. ओके, सो जिसकी हेल्प से क्या हो जाएगा, आप जो भी टॉपिक अभी यहाँ पे पढ़ रहे हैं उसकी रिवीजन आप कर पाओगे. ओके, so don't forget to, after this class, don't forget to solve the contest in our app. Go and solve it, and also we have provided the discussions for the answers. तो जैसे ही आपके कॉन्टेस्ट सॉल्व करके हो जाएगी, आप जाके डिस्कशन देख सकते हैं जिसमें मैंने आंसर्स भी एक्सप्लेन किए हैं. ओके, चलिए. So this was it. Okay, so now we also have comment from Shubham. मैम हमें कोर्स के बारे में डिटेल्स चाहिए. तो शुभम, आप हमारे जो कांटेक्ट नंबर जो है, यहाँ पे आपको कांटेक्ट नंबर दिख रहा होगा एक, तो उस पर कॉल करके आप सारी डिटेल्स ले सकते हैं. प्लस हमारा कोर्स जो है वो 28 मार्च से स्टार्ट हो रहा है. तो डू एनरोल इन आवर कोर्स, एंड जो कोर्स का ड्यूरेशन रहेगा वो 6 मंथ्स का रहेगा, विच इज़ अ वेरी गुड ड्यूरेशन. जैसे आपको पता है अभी तक आपके एग्जाम डेट्स नहीं आई हैं, इट इज दैट इज व्हाई वी आर हैविंग अ बफर टाइम. तो जितने जल्दी आप एनरोल करोगे उतना ही अच्छा होगा, बिकॉज इफ द डेट कम्स देन आपको बहुत जल्दबाजी करनी पड़ेगी. अगर आप अभी से आपकी प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करते हो, सो इजीली you will be able to crack the UGC-NET exam. Okay, so and the course fees is only 5,000 right now. We are giving offer, so offer price जो है हमारी वो 5,000 है. तो जल्दी से जल्दी जाके एनरोल कीजिए, so that you will get the course in such a least amount. Okay, so and the course, yes, don't forget that the course is starting from 28th March. So I hope you now got the details about the course. So we will stop here for today. Now it is your homework that you have to revise each and everything related to Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay, now because as I spoke about this life of Chaucer, here I spoke about these 3 periods. Yes, these 3 ages of Geoffrey Chaucer. So what you have to do is you also have to study them separately. Okay, understood? What you have to do actually, and also study them in detail, because here, because of the time constraint, I couldn't tell it to you each and everything in detail. तो अगर आप कोर्स में ज्वाइन करते हो तो आपको वो डिटेल में पढ़ने मिल ही जाएगा, but here also you have to find out the extra details about these 3 periods. Okay, that is the homework for today. I hope you all have understood whatever we have discussed in today's class, and you will remember it for your exams as well. So if you have any doubts, any queries, you can definitely comment in the comment section. If you want to learn anything else from me, you can definitely tell it to me so that I can come up with that topic as well. Okay, and don't forget to give the contest after this class. So we will just conclude the session and we will stop here for today. Let's meet tomorrow at the same time on the same channel. So till the time we meet next, happy learning.